Dennis and welcome to Gruen. We'll get to our panel in a moment, but first, why are ads so dramatic?
His heart must get to the hospital.
I got this.
If someone shows up in a cafe holding a human heart, don't say, I got this. Ask, how'd you get this? And why did you just grab the heart and run away? All he needed was a lift. You're not a good Samaritan now. You're an organ trafficker. And don't run with food in your mouth. You'll choke on your way to the hospital and someone will have to take your organs. Valia are turning yoghurt into a courtroom drama.
Valia is deliciously thick and creamy. And it contains 3 probiotics. So it has both tastiness and goodness.
Case dismissed.
What just happened? What crime did the yoghurt commit? Why is she eating the defendant? Who bribed the jury? Since when is feel-goodness a word? Why did you make a whole board for the word and? And why did that yoghurt get its portrait done by Ando before me? But the biggest plot twist comes from Barilla. Oh, look, it's Roger Federer. Why aren't they impressed? It's Roger Federer at your party. This is the coolest party. Hang on, where's he going? Why is Roger Federer in the... What's going on now? I don't understand. Why is... Ah! Who's that guy? Why is Roger in a uniform now? Don't come into the kitchen. That's unhygienic. Everybody's there. Oh, I get it. He's a good server and he's serving. That's the... Why does she get to choose? Who's she? Why is she so special? And the ad might be done, but I'm not. Why is an ad for Italian pasta set to the music from Zorba the Greek? Why bother having Federer cook and not say anyone is well fed? Why don't they realise they already had that pasta on the shelf? And why, oh why, does he carry pasta in his jacket? That's my thing, Roger. Time to welcome our panel, Todd Sampson, and from BMF, Christina Aventi. Welcome. Joining them, Rebecca Bazina, and from PwC, Russell Howcroft. Welcome. Brands have always tried to convince us they are people, but these days, people are brands. Being an influencer is all about monetising yourself. For example, if I wanted to be an influencer, I could spruik this suit on Instagram and say it's from Maya After Dark. It's not, I stole it from Rake. Or I could say my healthy glow is due to hashtag Blackmores and not due to hashtag Photoshop. It's been predicted the influencer economy will be worth $15 billion by 2020. There are fashion and wellness influencers all over the AFR Young Rich list, but there are also 90-year-old influencers and pet influencers. That's Grumpy Cat, who lost her 9th life this year, but is still posting from beyond the grave. Many other influencers are tragically still alive. Kim Kardashian's sister, Kylie Jenner, pockets $1.2 million for every branded Instagram post, which in Australian dollars is still a massive waste of money. But I want to talk about one of the most successful influencers and one of the youngest. He's also Australian. Before we show you this YouTube clip, know that you will now be among its nearly 300 million views.
Big Hand Toys. Hi guys, today we're putting together this new Let's see what happens when you press this button. Oh, it's the horn.
Oh, you know I'm not usually clucky, but seeing that really made me want to have a Spider-Man car. That's Calvin. He's so internet famous, he doesn't have a surname. Every week, he releases several toy unboxing videos on his YouTube channel, CKN Toys. He has over 12 billion total views, and he's just signed a massive deal with Nickelodeon. Christina, gut reaction. How do you feel about this?
Okay, look, I do wrestle with this a little bit. I know it's kitty crack and that it's a gateway drug to consumerism. And for my daughter, who's a 6-year-old, I have to ingest a lot of this and it works. And in some ways, as a cheap mum, it helps because I don't actually have to buy the stuff. She lives vicariously through these videos. It's a voyeuristic thing. Yeah, I'm a cheap mum.
Calvin got his start at 3. He's now 7. But if you're worried about the inbuilt obsolescence of a child, stop. Just like the iPhone, the family has already released a newer model.
Hi guys, I'm Calvin, and this is my little brother Kyson. Hi!
The American version of Calvin is Ryan Toys Review. With a last name like that, how could he do any other job? Ryan has the top-earning YouTube channel in the world. He has over 32 billion views, and he earned $22 million just last year. Both Ryan and Calvin make money from the ads that show before their videos, as well as the ads blatantly within them.
This is an ad for Cartoon Network. This is an ad for Fisher-Price. This video is sponsored by Paramount.
On TV, there's a range of pesky regulations around advertising to kids. YouTube is the wild, wild west. Russell, is this the greatest thing of all time?
Oh, I tell you what, it's the greatest family business of all time. I mean, how much does that cost to film, Will? Like, literally nothing. So your production costs are zero. Makes me think of... It's like it's Kinder Surprise on steroids, isn't it? It is so... I was just thinking about Kinder Surprise. What an awesome brand name to call just that little chocolate thing. So Kinder, obviously, and then Surprise.
That's what it is, Kinder Surprise.
I know, right? It's so blindingly obvious.
Yeah.
And
No,
yet it becomes...
to all of us, yeah.
Thanks.
You seem a little too fascinated by... It's a Kinder, and then it's a surprise!
I know. But and it's that basic. It's that basic, and yet you are able to build something. It's just extraordinary, isn't it?
What I found fascinating was I read a study that in the US and in the UK, the #1 career choice for kids was to be an influencer. Now, that just kind of freaks me out because there's a point where you need to be literate with being able to tell a story, maybe get a point across, but an influencer, like kids, we don't want astronauts. These people want to be influencers. It blows my mind.
Yeah, but maybe they've been influenced by their parents who've seen that you can be that... Yeah,
because the parents don't want to be influencers, they just want to be rich.
Or do you think a 3-year-old kid was like, I've got an idea?
Yeah, I know. Exactly, right?
Samsung is a brand that's heavily under the influence. Its latest campaign is a real who's that of influencer culture.
Hi everyone, it's Millie Bobby Brown. I want you all to continue spreading love and kindness. It is also a huge honour to be appointed UNICEF's youngest ever Goodwill Ambassador.
I feel 4,000 years old.
Yes.
That ad stars DJ Steve Aoki, 8.3 million Instagram followers, Ninja, 480 million views on video game streaming platform Twitch, model and musician Michaela, 1.6 million Instagram followers, and there's a Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. She has 30 million Insta followers, and she may be in a Samsung ad, but she still uses an iPhone. Rebecca, this campaign is like the influencer Avengers. Why use all 4 of them?
Oh, you know, they've said team, so that gives them permission to use more than one. I think it's interesting. I think it's very deliberate choice. You know, they've picked 4 influencers here, and I think putting them together gives them this sense of star power, even though you might not know who, one is versus the other. 43% of what we are doing on our phones is gaming. And then if you look at music and movies, it's pretty closely followed behind. So it's really smart. They've put all 4 together.
We're talking about these characters like they're brands. That's true, they are brands, but more importantly, they're media platforms. So you buy their audience, like you might buy Channel 7's audience or the Herald Sun's audience.
I think what is also interesting is they talk about being for the next generation, OK? And whereas in the past you might have one face that evokes a generation, so say James Dean in the 1950s, we kind of need a myriad of faces to evoke this generation. It's starting to make Apple feel old school. And I think there's something a little bit about the Pepsi-Coke wars going on here as well, with this sort of next generation and new generation with Samsung.
Let's say all 5 of us influencers, there'll be a business that says, I'm going to get these 5 and then sell those 5 onto an advertiser.
Hashtag Team Gruen. OK, back to this influencer, Michaela. She doesn't need sick leave, she doesn't age, she'll never go on a drunken rant about who really controls Hollywood. Why?
First, for the people who don't know me, my name's Michaela. I'm a 19-year-old musician, change seeker, taco truck expert, and robot.
Hang on, she's a taco truck expert? Oh, hang on, that's not the important bit. She's a robot. When the tech startup that created Michaela were questioned on whether or not she's real, they said she's as real as Rihanna. Yeah, I know, a bit rough on Riri, right? Here's more of a spin-off Samsung campaign.
Everything seemed unimaginable when I was just a few lines of code. I love creating new things, achieving the impossible. That's what being part of Team Galaxy is all about. Team Galaxy.
Oh, I get it now. All she needs is a line of code, unlike real celebrities who need a line of coke. Todd, is Michaela just the millennial paddle pop lion?
See, I really like the idea of virtual influencers. I mean, influencers today that are on social media, they've been so photoshopped and so filtered that they look fake anyway. At least this is authentic fake. She's a robot. And in many ways, I mean, think about it, it's a good thing. It's like having Kardashians that can't speak. It's a win-win for everyone. I mean, let's face it, some of the influencers are deliberately trying to trick us. They're human as well.
I know, but, and the scary thing is she does blend into that really artificial world, and that says a lot. I have a real problem with this in the fact that she talks about Black Lives Matter. She talks about in self-help speak, she says things like, don't compare your behind-the-scenes life to their hype-real life. And I have a real issue with the fact that she's talking to us human to human. The creators behind this talk about they want to cure fake news by using fake news. Plus-size avatar.
No, but in fairness to her, as a robot, all of that information came out after they exposed that she was a robot.
Yeah.
I mean, and people still love her. So it's not like, I mean, the whole notion that this virtual world is deceiving us. Last month, $500,000 was spent on virtual clothes in Fortnite. It's spent every month in Fortnite. I mean, there's more money spent in Farmville on farming equipment than there is in real-life farming equipment. I mean, this is the world they live in.
There's no question that it's incredible that a algorithm, algorithms do everything, don't they, Will? Yeah. It's amazing that an algorithm is able to build that thing, that face. We're obviously looking at what we're going to see all the time now. I walked into the Singapore office of our business and I was greeted by an avatar. And, so the receptionist is virtual.
I'm not all for everything being virtual, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone is making it out to be.
But you have a duty of disclosure there. You have to say sponsored post. We saw that in CKN. You've got to say this is an ad. And when a robot is deliberately trying to trick you into thinking it's human, and whatever agendas sit behind the creators of those guys as well, I do have an issue with that.
Michaela isn't owned by Samsung. They're just one of a bunch of advertisers renting her. She's flogging Netflix, Gucci, turned up on the cover of El Mexico and recently starred in a campaign for Calvin Klein.
Life is about opening doors, creating new dreams you never knew could exist.
That's how you get a computer virus.
It's so clever. The person who sat down in a room and said, hang on, let's create an aspirational avatar that looks like the whole world packed into one face and then rent it out to whichever brand wants her, that person, no doubt, is doing very well right now. Probably better than the, Lego unpacking guy, right? This is just, it's unreal.
And Michaela has had her fair share of fake real-life dramas, breakups, fights, even a hacking. In a recent Netflix documentary about social media stars, the original influencer, Paris Hilton, said this.
I'm a 21-year-old for the past 2 decades. It's just all part of an image and a brand and being a product. It's like Groundhog Day. Everything I do is just the same shit, different day.
Christina?
From a marketer's perspective, the virtual influencers certainly lower the risk profile, not because you're necessarily going to get the perfect person, but because you'll get predictable behavior. I mean, she's not going to end up in a crack house with a prostitute. You're fine. And the risk...
Oh, wow, you haven't seen the new Calvin Klein campaign. Samsung may have recruited DJ Steve Aoki for its influencer campaign, but if they want a DJ used to weird gigs, they should have booked Bref's Toilet DJ. He's on Instagram too. He's got one follower. Who would actually follow Bref's Toilet DJ? There's nothing brands love more than to join a conversation. And there's simply no conversation brands won't join. Turns out that even includes mental health. Here's an ad from Burger King in America.
Not everybody wakes up happy. Sometimes you feel sad, scared, crappy. All I ask is that you let me feel my way.
Feeling blue. Kinda down. Can't wait to leave this closed-minded town.
My boss is such a friggin' creep. I just told him to go f himself.
When I'm feeling weird or sappy, not all angry, just not happy. All I ask is that you let me feel my way.
I can't believe my student loan. I'm never moving out of my parents' home.
Just got ghosted. Should've known. Pretty sure I'll end up alone.
That guy got ghosted? Feel like he's gonna be okay. Inspired by McDonald's Happy Meals, Burger King released some unhappy meals.
All I ask is that you let me feel my way.
That makes me feel like a DC MP, a deeply cynical marketing ploy meal. Todd, if Burger King are serious about mental health, why take a swipe at Macca's along the way?
I hate that ad, but not the intent.
No.
So I think from an execution point of view, having the two things, having a go at McDonald's and trying to do something with mental health, it definitely confuses the message. I also think there's no resources for anyone to turn to at all in that ad, which I think is another problem. I think the way they frame mental illness as a bad day, and I think it marginalizes so much of what mental illness is. Not to mention, there is a direct correlation between poor diet and mental illness. So there's an irony there.
That is their purpose. So the normalising mental health and just making it something which is mainstream and anyone can have a conversation about. You can see how they got to it, can't you? It's also something interesting about how there's a lot of money in the ad. So it's actually been well produced in terms of, you know, let's actually pour money into it, let's get actors, let's get the soundtrack. In a way, that diminishes from the message as well in a funny sort of way. It's like, I don't know that you need to... I don't know you need to spend $1 million making an ad about that. But that's their sort of natural place because it's Burger King. They're a major advertiser.
And they're not helping you with any resources or things to do post it, I think, is where it really is let down, and the money could have been better spent at the other end.
Yes, I'm sure that's true. Although we don't know what's on the packaging. We don't know, like, let's open it up and there might be something in there. I mean, look...
There is, a Whopper.
Yeah. This might make you feel good at that moment in time.
No, I mean... Yeah, the only sort of tool they're giving you is, you know, it's okay to not feel okay and you can whopper your worries away, which just is not enough. Like, it just feels opportunistic and gratuitous. But I agree that it's in the execution, the intent. You know, with a better execution, they could have gotten away with it.
And you can see how they get there as well, you know. So they're competing. They compete every day with Macca's, Happy Meal, Unhappy Meal. You can see how they get there. But OK, it's not that great.
Which is the harshest thing Russell's ever said about an ad. Take that, Burger King. Whoa. Oh, boy. Woo. On social media, Burger King sounds like an oversharing tween, with tweets such as, "How's everyone feeling? Not sure who needed to hear this today, but it's okay not to be happy all the time. #feel your way." The backlash was swift, with many pointing out that junk food and getting paid a minimum wage increases the risk of depression. Rebecca, when you're working with a brand, how do you find that line between exploiting and helping?
Well, look, I think it's more about the brand finding a way to connect with the audience, you know, really trying to understand what's going on for the audience, what's happening in their world, and trying to make the product relevant.
Another brand wading into this space is Ford in the UK.
Oh, mate, I'm so hungry. You still on for Friday night? I'll show already, mate. What? Steve, talk to me, mate. Okay.
Lots of men still struggle to talk about their mental health. Together, we can help change that.
See, Christina, to me, that's much more simple but much more effective. What did you think of that approach?
Yeah, I love this, and I think it shines a light on how wrong Burger King got it. I think it starts from the inside out. You know, in a car, you're more likely to open up. It's considered like a vault, and I think for males, we know it's a struggle for them to open up. We know that they tend to open up more when they're sort of sitting side by side than face to face. That's an absolute truth. I think what I really love about this is the approach. It's more community service announcement than profiteering, what seems like profiteering. It's not like they renamed the Astra the Ford Anxiety car or something, which really sort of shifted that. And I think there's just something beautiful in the craft and the knowing, like in classic ad land, in that it's implicit, not explicit. The metaphor of the elephant. We've all felt the weight of someone who is silent and disengaged, and it's a beautiful metaphor where the way the car lifts at the end to show that it's sort of lifting off their shoulders. They leave a gap for you to go into. That's all what implicit communications is, whilst Burger King didn't do that. They actually said this moment, this moment, this moment, and they got it wrong. It just shows you how much Burger King just did not get it.